right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show.
You're listening to the Ink and Paint Club Podcast, your weekly animation discussion show. You can find episodes every week on the show's YouTube page, and if you like the show, subscribe and share it with your friends. Because that would be pretty rad.
Alright everybody, welcome back to the Ink and Paint Club. I'm your host JD, as always, and with me as usual is the world's top ginger, Mr. Kyle.
When you're not talking about weeb shit.
Yay!
Here I am.
Yeah. And joining us, because I'm pretty sure she'd hit me if I didn't have her on for this episode, my lovely lady Melanie is with us.
Hi.
I
wouldn't hit you. That's abuse.
I don't know the last...
Male abuse is a real problem.
It is, I guess. I don't know the last time you were on, but...
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Anyway. So, if you've been living under a rock, Samurai Jack is back. Heads
Yes.
That's what Adult Swim's been putting...
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So good.
So, yeah, Adult Swim, Toonami as it is, brought Samurai Jack back for another season so they can finally finish the story. Kind of like how Futurama came back. This week we thought... What Kyle?
Now all they need is Megas. Make it a full circle, bring Megas back.
What?
Oh, I want them to bring Megas back.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Megas XLR kicked ass.
Oh.
This show was amazing.
I thought he meant like a Mega Pokemon evolution. I was like, what are you talking about? I watched Mega. Yeah, that was a funny show.
So for this episode, it's a little different because for the first part, we're gonna just talk about the first episode of the new Samurai Jack thing, what we thought about, the new direction it's going in.
Mm-hmm.
And in the second part, we'll just kind of talk about our feelings about the rest of the series as a whole, just in general. And that should be fun, because Melanie has a giant lady boner for this show.
It's just so good. It's just such a good show. Like, all right, so we'll get into it.
Okay, yeah, so let's...
The original Samurai Jack, should we talk about that a little bit?
Well, I assume anyone listening to this knows what Samurai Jack is.
I guess that's true.
And I feel like I have a problem with over-explaining things
okay.
to the point of not needing to. But so, Mel, we'll let you go first. When we watched this episode last night, what did you think about the new episode?
So to recap, to get ourselves back, to get you back into the swing of things, we rewatched a couple episodes of the old series.
Because I told you, like, I didn't remember jack all about the show.
So we watched the first 3 episodes, and then we just watched a couple in between. And some good episodes, and what?
Nothing.
So anyway, so we watched those, and and immediately after we watched those, then we watched the new episode, and it felt exactly like it just felt such a smooth transition. It felt like exactly like the old series. I thought it just felt like it felt like a continuation, it smoothly transitioned. It went into it. The art was glorious as usual. They got like most of the previous crew back to really capture what the old series had as far as art goes, and of course Gendy came back because it was his show, and you could really feel his creation in that, in the action and the dialogue and the choreography of it all, and I was very impressed. I'm very happy with how it's going. I think it's going in a good direction. It really felt to me like a part of the Samurai Jack show.
How do you feel now that... Because we were watching the old show, it's very obvious that they had to downplay a lot of the action because, like, everything he was killing was robots. Like, no matter how organic they looked, they're robots. Like, we were watching that, it was like the second or third episode, he's like in the bar fight, and he can't kill anybody, so he's just chopping off the robot hands.
It was a big lizard monster, and he cuts his arm off, and it was all
and he's just a
mechanical.
robot. Yeah,
because they couldn't kill any living...
Or, like, there was another episode with, like, the Scotsman and, like, bounty hunters are chasing him, and it's like a pig and a hillbilly.
But they're robots.
And they're robots.
Everybody and everything is robots in this show. But funny. I guess in this new season, they're gonna be, taking it in a little more violent. Like in this first episode, it's real apparent that it's gotten more violent. Like everything's a little more intense with the fight scenes and everything. But how do you feel about like it taking a more violent direction?
I think it's I think it feels very natural for the show, because just when you think of the show as the concept of the show is violent, and I mean it's about a samurai going to war basically, and from the get-go, I think it was a violent show. I can't imagine how he must have pitched that, I mean,
right.
And he even says like, the producers are saying, okay, everything has to be like a robot. I think it feels very natural. I think if the show had been allowed, they would have made it grittier in the past. But because it was on, a children's network, you can't, obviously. But even when I was a kid, the violence, even though they were all robots, the violence is still very much there. Just because they're not people dying doesn't make it less violent, in my opinion, anyway. Like when I was a kid, I used to be like, "Oh shit, dude, this is crazy."
Yeah, I mean, the way they shot it, it was really.
Yeah.
I mean, it was intense.
It was crazy. I mean, you watch like those early episodes, and there's people like the humans are all enslaved, and like.
I mean, we watched the one episode with the basket assassins, and like that shit got intense.
Yeah, that was really dark.
Kyle, let's hear from you. What did you think about this new opener?
I liked it. Wasn't a fan of the old show, but I can get into that later. It felt better, in a sense, to me from the old one. It actually kept my interest. And I think they introduced like one of the best villains, and then they killed them off, which was kind of sad.
Oh, the Tom Kenny guy.
Yeah.
Oh, the Tom Kenny music robot guy?
Yeah, it was like, I know it's Tom Kenny, but he sounds different from him, just a little bit.
Good.
But
yeah,
I did...
it
Well, go on.
Go ahead. I was gonna say it actually took me a few minutes to realize that was Tom Kenny.
Yeah.
Oh really? I knew it
was
him right
doing
away.
a different voice, but I like that character, even though he was a robot at the end. But the thing about it is, I was just talking about that with one of my friends, is that now that it's on Adult Swim, he was just killing a shitload of robots in this first episode. There wasn't much thing. And then I was thinking, well, they can't really do it outside of Adult Swim because nobody's gonna remember from that long ago. So it was the natural progression for that. They had to do it because anybody that remembers it is an adult now. But
yeah, and I think even going even further and putting it on the Toonami block, I think was really good, because I think Samurai Jack used to air in Toonami back in the day, and a lot of, at least from what I can tell, a lot of the modern day Toonami's audience is made up of people who watched Toonami back in the day, because like I left it on after Jack showed was on, and they're fucking playing Dragon Ball right after that, and
Back to the past,
and like they had, I think I saw the what was going to be on later that night, and they had like Naruto and One Piece on, so it's like they're still airing, you know, the same shows they aired back in the day. So I think putting it, Jack, as the intro to the Toonami block, I think was a really smart decision for him.
It's kind of cool. I bought art prints. I don't know if they're still available, but Adult Swim only sells one item at a time now, and it's hard to pinpoint when they're doing it. But I saw one of my friends, Dustin, was like, "Oh shit, they're selling art prints," so I jumped on it, and they were selling one signed by him, and I missed out on that. But I bought, it's a three set Samurai Jack one, and it's like super minimalistic. Like you wouldn't know they're Samurai Jack art prints. It's a lot of scenery and stuff, but one of them it's snow, and there's like a trail of blood leading up to a body. And
in this print,
like it's snow, and then there's a big like almost snail trail of blood, and then it's like, okay, they're gonna get into that, but in this one it was just robots.
Yeah, I think, at least from what I've read in the interviews with Gendy that I've seen, I don't think he's gonna be like hacking and slashing a bunch of guys.
He didn't. The way Gendy said it, I don't think it's going to be any more or less violent than the original show. The fact is that they're just going to have people this time.
Well, I think, I mean, again,
like
we've only seen one episode of like I think 10, but I think the way, at least I understand it, is the way Gendy said it is that he's going to kill a person, and it's going to be like the first person he's killed in centuries.
I'm assuming it's going to be one of the Aku sisters.
Yeah. Probably. And I guess like him killing an actual person for the first time
like fucks him up.
Is gonna mess with him.
But he's already kind of losing it right now.
Yeah, Jack's kind of losing his mind in this first episode.
Which I love. I think it's a very interesting way to take the character, because when you first watch the show, he's so charming, put together, very polite, very stoic. And so it's really interesting to see him losing his shit, like.
Yeah, because I guess this episode is like 50 years in the future, which is kind of interesting that they put it that way, because it's like they're not starting right where the show left off, because the show's been off for a good 10, 15 years.
And the show, when it left off, it wasn't exactly leaving you off on like a stumper here.
No,
it left
it just
off with a baby episode.
Yeah, it was just another episode. There wasn't like a cliffhanger or anything.
Yeah,
so.
It wasn't.
But no, I think it's nice that like because there's been such a span of time between this season and the last season, that there's such a gap in time between the timeline of the show too.
They explain it too, that it's 50 years in the future, but he hasn't aged because he's messed up from the timeline.
He's all fucked up from the time warp. Yeah.
But he's got a beard now.
I found that interesting because you guys watched the whole Q&A thing, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, you sent that to us.
I thought it was interesting that he's like, I didn't have an ending planned. It's like, I was just fucking doing this.
Yeah. I like the way he kind of explained that, in the sense that like the way television production works is like you're never guaranteed another season.
Yeah.
You don't know till you're like at the back end of a season if you're getting.
And I'm sure like when they first made it and everything, I'm sure maybe they didn't know if it was going to be popular or not, and he just pitched this concept, and the show went with it.
Yeah, I mean, he was even saying that he wasn't even sure if like the network even wanted more of it, and he didn't know if he was kind of getting burned out on it. So
yeah, because he said he was getting into the Clone Wars.
Yeah, the Clone Wars cartoon, which is rad.
Yeah,
I'm sad that I got retconned, but
I'm sad that everything Gendy does gets retconned. I'm a big Gendy fan.
He did that Clone Wars cartoon, and then they made the CG Clone Wars cartoon, which canceled out what Gendy did.
You know what I'm hoping for though?
What's that?
It would be funny if in this season they did a Symbionic Titan crossover. That way he could wrap that story up in this.
Well, that's another thing in the Q&A he did. He didn't outright say that he was working on Symbionic Titan, but
no, he didn't say anything about it.
No, like no one asked him anything about that show.
I wanted him to.
Okay. The thing is, I was in that chat, and there was a bunch of stuff in the side of it, and people were asking about it, but it didn't appear on the bottom.
No.
He didn't see that stuff.
That's weird. All I want.
But he said, like, again, this isn't like a for sure thing that's going to happen, but he said he has been talking to like the head of Adult Swim about making a new show, and whether that means like a straight up new show or
I loved Symbionic. Okay.
Symbionic Titan ran on Adult Swim for a while. So.
I loved Symbionic Titan. I thought that show was so cool. Like, the animation is smooth. Oh god, I'm such a Gendy fan. I love everything that man does. He just I want to know what happens. The lighting was good. The colors were good. The characters were great.
Mel's having a breakdown here.
So sad. So when they announced a couple years back that they were doing the Samurai Jack comic books, I was like, oh, maybe they'll do Symbionic Titan comic.
Buy you the first one?
Yeah, you did.
Where is that?
Somewhere on the shelf, probably.
Oh. Yeah.
I looked it up today, and they had a Rule 63 comic issue.
For what?
Or it was
what?
Well, they had in the Samurai Jack comic. I guess they had a Rule 63 thing where it was gender swapped, and it was A female
I can never-
Scotsman and a female Jack.
Oh god, I can never remember what the internet rules are.
Oh yeah,
Those-
what's the porn one?
34.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got confused.
They exist. There's porn of it.
Anyway,
but
so this first episode was really interesting. He's in a bunch of armor. He's using guns.
yeah, because they said something about like they showed it in a flashback that he's lost
he
his
lost
sword.
his sword,
He
we
like
don't
dropped
know.
it down a pit or something.
Yeah, so we don't know. So they'll probably go into that some more.
Well, the way
The
he explained it too was he lost his way, in a
Yeah.
sense. So that's
Mhm.
why he's using
Well,
all
'cause
these
if he
weird
doesn't-
weapons.
Because if he doesn't have a sword, then he can't beat Aku. So that's probably what he means. Because you can't fight Aku without the magical sword.
Yeah.
And so, that's
Yeah.
maybe that's what he means by that is he's lost his way because he thought maybe if he beat Aku, he could go back in time.
And kind of on a related note, I'm kind of glad they didn't show Aku in this yet, because they've kind of made a big deal about like his old voice actor, passed
Yeah,
away a few years ago,
Mako.
so obviously they can't use him, but they found a sound alike, and I like that they let you hear him on a phone
on the
for like a
phone?
split second.
That was funny.
From what I heard, though, it's I could be completely wrong here, but they were saying that it was the same guy from Avatar who did Iroh or something.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But was it the same guy? Because they said he was an understudy and he took over for Iroh. That's why he didn't really talk in one episode.
I don't remember. He in that Q&A thing, he said the voice actor's name. I don't know if that's the same
Yeah, I don't
one
know.
from Korra.
His name's Mako, I believe.
Mako was the
Mako
voice
was
actor
the
who
original,
died.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
He said the guy who replaced him is named Brian something.
I don't know.
Um,
But I really love Aku as a character. I love his design. I love
His design's
his
very
personality.
his design's
He
got a
was-
really strong silhouette, and that's what I really like.
Yeah, big hands, pointy shoulders.
And it was weird because when we were watching back through the old episodes, like there's episodes where they'll make him like really threatening and imposing,
Yeah.
and then we watched an episode where he's literally just reading fairy tales to a bunch of children.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why do you care what children think of
I
you?
know, I was like, you could just eat these children and then they'd fear you for sure.
You guys ever notice
So-
how fluid his lip movements are sometimes?
I love his eyes are always all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
And
oh
it-
my god.
It seems like there's
so
more
funny.
frames of him talking than normal, because it's super fluid. It almost looks computerized, in a sense.
Yeah, I did kind of notice that, like, watching back on this and, like, watching his animation. It is kind of weird, like, how intricate they made such, like, a simple-looking character.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why they can do that, because he's so simple. He's, like, straight black, so it's like all you're playing is with,
Well,
like,
I'm sure they take so much inspiration from the old, like, ink paintings, old Japanese ink paintings.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those were just simple black characters.
Yeah.
One thing I want to talk about from the old series is something that has nothing to do with the old series. But
Okay. What does that mean?
I had to watch the Duck Dodgers episode this morning,
Oh, yeah.
and I love it because it has the same voice actor for Aku.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, Oh yeah, Mel. There's that Duck Dodgers cartoon that
Yeah.
they had back. They had an entire
I
episode.
never got into that show.
There's an entire episode parroting Samurai Jack, and it's like in the same art style and
What?
everything.
That's
Yeah,
so
and-
random.
And Gendy's in it as well.
Aww.
Getty's in it.
Yeah, he guest stars.
I forgot about that.
Aww.
He's
I just know I just know the one GIF that goes around on Tumblr every now and again. He's like,
That's
it's like I'll
him.
cut you. And he's like, oh, that's him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That is funny.
He's like, I'm gonna cut.
Aw.
He's like, I would strike you down. It's like, not with a Y7 rating or not.
Aww.
Yeah, that's really him.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, I
I
love
need to
Getty.
find that later.
It's
So I was saying to
it's called
to
Samurai
Jamie-
Quack if you're looking for it.
Samurai Quack.
That's great.
So, back to Samurai, I was saying to Jamie that, like, I love Gendy's stuff because, and, like, I love his humor especially because you'll have a show that is so serious and there won't be any humor in for, like, 2 episodes. And then all of a sudden they just throw an episode at you that's nothing but humor because it's, like,
You need a break.
I don't know. I just think it's so funny. Like, his humor is so funny. It's like timed humor. I don't know what it is. what he does, it's like the character expressions, like the characters just feel like they're alive, like real people, and I think that makes them so fun. Like even in Symbionic Titan, like the two main characters in that, they just were very relatable and fun to pick at, and I think he likes to pick at his shows and pick at his characters. You know, he likes to have fun and tease himself.
No, I think Gendy really knows how to be self-depreciating a little bit.
He stays like humble even though he's so big. Like he stays down to earth.
He's a big old Russian man.
Yeah. But anyway, I love that guy.
But yeah, I guess it was kind of interesting going back, watching the old episodes with you, because I was telling you, I remember watching, like when they put it on TV for the first time. It was like they aired that big TV movie, like This Is What Samurai Jack Is, because I watched it with my dad, and my dad is really weird. Because when I was a kid, he always tried to seem more knowledgeable than he actually was about, just to seem interested. So when I turned Samurai Jack on, I showed him what was on, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I think I've seen this before." It's like, Dad, this is completely new. Shut up.
Yeah.
But no, it was weird watching it now, because I think I had the same problem with Samurai Jack as I had with Batman the Animated Series when I was a kid.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's a slower paced, more calm show. That I had a hard time paying attention to it as a kid. Like I would get so bored so fast, because I was even telling Mel, we were watching an episode. There's a good like 5-10 minute span where there's no dialogue. It's just
like stare down.
There was this whole thing where I think it was like the third episode, and Jack's fighting that army of beetle robots. There's literally 2 minutes, like almost 2 minutes of him just staring down these beetles, and just cutting back and forth between that.
Yeah,
sure is.
My problem with it as a kid, it was too cinematic for me, and I just didn't have the attention span for it. Because even watching it today, I was like, fuck. I was playing Zelda, watching it, and I'm like, not even looking at the screen, knowing what's going on. Like, you don't really have to watch it to know what's going on. But, yeah, it was just too cinematic, where it had the comic panels, where it would... like the screen would split up a bunch of time, or the dramatic tension. I
love that.
I wasn't into that as a kid.
I don't see. There was something about that my little ADD brain loved. Like, I don't know. I loved all the cuts in the screen, all the characters. Like the colors were great. Every time they cut in a screen, it was like a different perspective on a character or multiple characters or something. And I freaking loved it.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of my complaints about modern cartoons are they're too fast and loud, and it's like it's an overload watching modern cartoons now. Not saying that they're bad, but a lot of them just aren't for me because they're too... Most of them. A lot of modern cartoons are not for me because they're just too chaotic. I understand, like, for little ADD kids, they're perfect because it's just like a joke a minute, everything's running by really fast, it's, it keeps their attention. But then there's Samurai Jack now, and back in the day, like, it's like completely on the opposite end of the spectrum, where it's so slow, it's so thought out, and they don't need to talk.
In my opinion, Samurai Jack was like a it was a show, I think, for artists to experiment. Like it really was, like, the show itself was art, in my opinion, and art can be boring,
Yeah, and I mean, we were even in that Q&A with Gendy. Gendy was even saying he never makes a show for an audience. He doesn't make it for adults or for kids. He makes it for himself, and he makes it for his crew. So if they think it's cool, then they make it.
Didn't he say he was inspired by, like, 70s movies and stuff like that?
Yeah, because someone in the Q&A... someone in the... someone in the Q&A was asking about the cinematography, and he was, like, old 70s, like, exploitation stuff, because they would do, like, those little cuts where they would, like, close up on the eyes and stuff.
I love that.
And a lot of those, like, really quick cuts in between scenes, so I can definitely see the influence on that.
I was, like, saying to you, I was like, I love it when they zoom in on his eyes and his eyebrows get all angry and you can see all the lines in his eyeballs because he's like, oh shit, he's really curling those brows. Oh my god, I love it.
So they had a big discussion on 4chan last night, and they were talking about they say they get mad when they introduce like a really, they would say like the greatest of all time villain, and then they end up killing it off just like last night. And then they had that the pig sheriff, and they said rest in peace, and I had never seen that before till last night, and it was like the funniest shit I've seen, and it's just Michael Richards doing voices. It's just so fucking funny.
Yeah, Michael Richardson's all over the place.
But they were showing, I don't know, the only one I watched as a kid, there was like a graveyard battle with like gargoyles. I think that was the first episode I saw, and then
Samurai Jack?
Yeah. And another one I saw was the blind archers, the Anubis.
That is a
with
great
the ears.
episode.
Those are the only ones I've really seen.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I can also but also watching it, like, as much as I love that episode, I can really see how people get bored watching that.
Yeah.
Because it's really quiet and it's really like, because the whole thing is that, okay, Jack can't use his eyes, he has to rely on his senses to beat these things, and so it's really boring, so he closes his eyes, and then there's like a 10-minute sequence of him just like listening to shit. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, this is really boring.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess looking back on it now, I kind of appreciated that a show would do that, and I'm also kind of surprised it lasted as long as it did. But,
yeah,
you know, even back in the day, so many, you know, shows were kind of like more high energy, so I guess it was kind of nice that there was, you know, this option that if you wanted a slower, kind of more paced show, you know, that was there.
I think around the time it was Cartoon Fridays with like Billy and Mandy and Ed, and Eddie and all these
cartoons.
At that time.
I think Jack was a little before Billy and Mandy, because I think Jack was 2001.
Okay.
Somewhere around that. But I get what you mean. I mean, because you had like Ed, and Eddie and Courage back then, and a lot of those were like, you know, it was a lot of high energy stuff. And not to say this one isn't high energy when it needs to be, but, you know, a lot of the time it's just a lot of peaceful scenery. It's a lot of quiet moments. It knows, like you said, Kyle, it's very cinematic. It definitely feels like an old samurai movie.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
And, you know, it was kind of interesting that Gendy would try to push something like that in any day and age,
which
on a
is
kid's
weird
network.
because it's such a 180 from Dexter. Dexter was such a I don't know, like a humorous thing, and then this is more like a movie. I think that's another reason kind of why I wasn't into anime as a kid, because it was kind of like that. I always saw anime as like the serious thing like that, and I wasn't too into it. That's why I gravitated towards those cartoons more than this one.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. It was a little strange to see him go from Dexter, which is like this straight up comedy, gag a minute kind of show.
Well, even Dexter though was incredibly action packed. Like, they did the cut scene thing, where they chopped the scene around. There was a lot of like
Dexter had a lot of action, like editing, but on its whole, it was like, you know, a comedy. There was no real serious episode of Dexter.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But it is kind of weird that like he basically went from that to making this super serious samurai show.
Through Dexter, it seemed like they were parodying those types of action stuff, and this it seems like they're doing it out of the love for it. Because it felt sarcastic in a sense through that way.
I mean, they do an entire episode where like he and his family make a giant Voltron robot.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Oh my god.
And like the entire kaiju parody episode.
There's a lot of parody. Like, there's a Speed Racer parody.
There's a Speed Racer parody episode.
There's like a lot.
But it's weird,
and
because
then they changed the art style.
That was like way later on.
Yeah, then I thought it got kind of weird when they changed the art style.
Yeah, that was post cancellation. It had been canceled for a while, and then it came back.
Yeah, wasn't it like it had 2 seasons and then it got canceled and it came back for like another 2 seasons with the weird art style?
Yeah. That was
'Cause it
around the
wasn't
time
under
of...
Hanna-Barbera anymore.
Yeah, that was around the time of, like, the Powerpuff Girl movie, I want to say.
Right.
But,
Pop-up art style change too.
with Jack, though, it's kind of cool, because it's not all serious and stuff. There are funny episodes, just like, I think there's one where he challenges Aku to a battle. And
Yes!
he's like,
Oh my god, that's like one of the last episodes.
yeah,
So,
and he's like,
that episode makes me, like, pee myself. It's so fucking
Is that the
funny.
one where he's like,
no.
I'm gonna
no
meet you
shit.
here.
Yeah,
and
he's
he's like, I
like,
need
do you
to
want
ask
to
for-
ride? Yeah. It's like, I can pick you up. It's on my way. It's so funny. Oh my god, I love it.
And I think
And that's the kind of thing what I'm saying is, like, I love it when the show just, like, plays with itself.
yeah.
And so, like, in that episode, Aku is, like, calling all these, like, bounty hunters to go get Jack, and they all keep dying. And, like, Aku's trying to order a pizza and stuff, like... And he's just, like, this all-powerful demon lord that rules the world, and he's just trying to order a pizza, like... It's just so stupid.
Is that the
I mean,
one
and
where,
I think
is that the
Go
one
ahead,
where
Kyle.
he's like, he says like, oh, well, I fooled you, and then he's like, well, I fooled you, fooling you.
Yeah, he's like, you
And then-
see, I knew that you knew, but you are evil, and I am smart.
Yeah.
He's like, you see, I knew that you would trick me, and blah, 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 blah.
yeah.
So he made, like, a bunch of different, like, faulty swords.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they have like this such serious like antagonistic relationship, but they don't shy away from like trying to like make fun of their relationship too, so they can have those like really kind of goofy moments, even though like their whole like battle is supposed to be so serious.
And then, like, when Aku shows up, he has, like, this really awkward human form. Jack's just, like, staring at him, like, what the fuck?
He was in
I did
the,
like
the
when-
undies and everything too, I think.
Yeah. I love it.
I did like we were watching the fairy tale episodes last night, and the part where he's telling the whole thing about the Centurion in space fighting the giant dragon, the world-eating dragon. And he just takes off the helmet and just hit his head on a
Aku,
human body.
yeah. Oh my god.
It's like, that's so stupid. Like, I love it so much.
Oh, it's so good.
Stupid.
So good.
Yeah. So yeah, Samurai Jack was a good show, and I'm glad that it's back, because I definitely feel like there was this big grander thing. Even if Gendy didn't mean to at the time, I think it was meant to build up to some kind of final conclusion. So I'm glad that he's...
I mean, it has to have a conclusion. The whole show is about his journey I mean, yes, it's violent, yes, it's action-packed, but the whole reason that exists is because he's trying to find a way back home. Like, that's the whole purpose. So I love that in the new show it even has him, like, he's guilt-ridden because he can't get back to his family, and...
I will say, the intro to the new season, and I hope they do it every time, because it's so, like, it's supposed to be super serious, but it's so goofy, because he's like narrating what happened in between, and then he goes like, gotta get back to the past, and it's like
gotta get back to the past. Samurai Jack. I
he's
was like, why did you just say your own name? Like,
and he's saying it super seriously, but it's like, this used to be like a rap song back in the day.
I didn't know that he didn't have a name. Like, I was watching the first couple episodes, and that's what they were calling
They never
him.
give him a name.
Yeah, I even had to ask you, Mel, the other day, or when we were watching it last night, if they ever said what his name was, because it's like, I never understood why he goes by that name.
I think it's just
I was watching.
because,
I was watching it, and I'm like, how the fuck do they know his name? They just met him. And then Ari was like, well, they're just calling him that. Like, that's like saying, hey, Joe. I'm like,
yeah, hey dude.
Okay.
Well, because that's what people used to. They'd be like, well, you've never heard that before. You never people go like, yo,
No,
Jack.
I have never.
Ain't Jack shit. Really, you've never heard that before?
That's like a really, but that's like a really old slang
Yeah,
term.
it's very dated now. But yeah,
If
I mean,
it's-
people used to be like, yo,
if you're
Jack.
saying, like-
that's just.
If you're saying, like, hit the road, Jack, that's way fucking old. That
No,
goes
not
over
that.
my head. Well, that was a
but-
song.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird, like, them trying to write hip dialogue for the future people. and even that kind of slang term seemed outdated at the time.
As a kid, that definitely went over my head. I never understood that. I was like, do they know him? I was like, how did they know him?
Well,
That's how I felt today.
Yeah.
I mean, I got it that like that's why he goes by the name Jack. I just don't understand why he decided to pick a different name when he's in the future, because like he's not trying to hide the fact that he's from the past trying to destroy Aku. It's like, why not just use your normal name?
Well, I'm sure I'm overthinking this because Gendy literally just said he doesn't like to give out names.
Yeah, because his dad is literally named Emperor.
Yeah.
He never gave him a name.
Because he said he was like, I just don't like names. So I'm probably way overthinking this, but I'm sure it's just like, okay, here's Jack. His whole identity is literally been stripped from him when Aku attacked his village, and he was taken to become this ultimate weapon.
Which I gotta say, as a side note, I'm really surprised all these different cultures were just accepting of a Japanese man to learn all their fighting techniques.
I want to say they were all buddies, like they're all friends of his
Yeah,
dad.
they all like knew his dad and stuff, I'm sure.
It's so weird.
His dad probably
Because
just...
he goes to like the Middle East,
Yeah.
Africa,
People
and
just like
Russia.
the world leaders all know each other.
Yeah.
So,
For the UN.
well, I was watching it earlier, and then Ari was like, "Oh yeah," and he goes to England, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And then I'm like, "Oh, it was the whole Robin Hood thing," and I'm like, "Well, see, that's a fictional thing. It's not in my head as that's England or anything. I'm not taking it. I thought he would learn boxing."
I thought out of all of them, that was like the stupidest because you had him going with like the monks and the Africans and the Egyptians.
When I saw the
And it was
African
like-
part, I'm like, "Is that considered racist now?" Because that
Oh,
dude was like
'cause they're all
pure
black.
black.
I mean,
I
there
think it's
are
just
actual
stylistic, yeah.
African people who are that dark.
No, and I just taught a couple lessons
People
on
bitch about stuff like that, though.
But I just taught some art lessons on Black History Month and stuff, and so we looked at like African art, and a lot of like traditional African art from that continent is they draw the people like purely black, like very silhouetted almost,
And-
no faces, just purely black.
And even with that, I still feel like people would bitch about it. They would find something to complain about, because that's the
guess.
world we live in.
Well, I think had that come out nowadays, I think maybe they
Yeah,
would,
maybe.
but I think
Definitely.
because it was back in the day when, the internet wasn't full of rage people.
But I think it's smart because you can tell the show has done its research, not just with the samurai thing, but all cultures. I mean, Gendy talked about how he was an immigrant and he just enjoyed cultures. He used to always hang out in the cultural section of the CD store and stuff. So I think, really, I mean, they did their research and just like how I taught my kids about the art, I'm sure they researched art in Africa and the stylistic choices on why they did those things.
Yeah.
That's just what I think. But also I think it's weird that we do the Robin Hood thing and the ancient Egypt thing because I'm sure ancient Egypt civilization was way before Robin Hood. So,
Yeah, they kind of play fast and loose with
yeah, with
where
that
in
timeline,
time
yeah.
Jack originates from.
Because it's like, well,
say
it seems to
feudal
be like
Japan.
feudal Japan, and feudal Japan was anywhere between like 800 to 1400 or something.
Well, I mean,
Let's look
shit.
it up.
I mean, shit.
I'm gonna Google it.
Japan was like pretty much in the feudal age till like almost the 1900s, I think.
Feudal
Like they didn't become
Japan
modernized till like post World War
dates.
II, I think.
Well, there's
I-
a specific. There's the feudal period in Japanese history.
We're googling this.
Yeah, I'm googling it. Let's see.
Just go to feudal
Because
Japan.
Japan is
Time
from
date.
1185 to 1868.
Okay, yeah. So
So yeah, I guess it's
it's
pretty
almost
open.
1900s.
I guess Robin Hood could be around
I guess
in that time.
it does stretch
Because
along.
if Robin Hood was around in like what the 15 or 1600s, then
Sure. But anyway, but yeah, I definitely agree that I think this.
I mean,
Samurai Jack knows how to.
It was long enough for Tom Cruise to become a samurai. So. I mean,
and Matt Damon to defend the Great Wall. So, but no, Mel, I agree with you. I think this show really knows how to respect world cultures in general, not
Yeah.
just Japanese culture.
And I also want to add that, like, in that sense, Jack is so respectful to everybody because he's very well rounded in his world cultures, and that was something I always loved. Like in the very first episode when he's that stupid dinosaur robot, you know, he sits down and he apologizes. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm new here. I didn't mean to offend you. And he's just, like, apologizing because he knows he was like, I can't be ignorant. And I love that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of nice because in most episodes, it kind of shows Jack trying to not... He basically uses his sword, like, as a last resort kind of deal.
He don't want no trouble.
He don't want no trouble.
Yeah, like, it's basically teaching kids, like, you know, violence isn't, like, shouldn't be your first option to resolve something. So it is kind of nice that he tries to be diplomatic about it most of the time.
Well, and I love that. And I just think it's great that, I mean, and respect is a huge thing in Japan no matter what you do. I mean, that's like being a samurai is a very respectful position, you know?
Anyway.
That was a big deal. To be a samurai was a big deal. And this is my nerdist shit coming out because I really liked Rurouni Kenshin. So so that's why I know so much about samurais, is because when I was in junior high and Rurouni Kenshin was on Adult Swim, I became like obsessed with samurais and like nerded out on samurai culture. And then I was like Samurai Jack, and it was just like all this samurai shit just happened to be going on at the same time. So I was like, yeah, samurais, what?
Like, what?
So yeah, I if you need any tips on samurais, I'm your girl.
So I guess the last thing I wanted to talk about was like kind of getting back to this new season, where you guys think this is going, because now we've got like this new group of bad guys, the Daughters of Aku, that are legit people that are...
So that was weird. Maybe we should talk about that a second, because did Aku impregnate this woman? And she literally had 7 babies in one go.
It seemed like it was different ladies, though.
Was it?
Yeah, I was confused by...
Because then it showed her getting up naked and putting a robe on, and she was like, hey, you have 7 daughters.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was kind of confused whether it was one woman or it was multiple.
Yeah, me too. I couldn't tell.
I'd like to...
I'm
kind of leaning on the side that it's one woman because of their weird cult weirdness that they're going on with. But yeah, there's like this cult that worships Aku, and I don't know...
Which is interesting. I like that.
And... Because it's weird because they're, like, praying to this Aku statue. Like, they're not actually in contact. And they think that, like, if they produce, like, this army of, like, female warriors for him, that you grace them with his presence again. I'm kind of in the camp leaning that these people are just crazy and have never actually seen him before, but they just, like, have convinced themselves that if they do this, Aku will, you know, come to them, but...
I do like the fact that they're showing you people that do support him, because you always, like, in the old show, it was always, Aku is so evil, and every village is getting, ruined.
Well, unless they were, like, his legit minions.
Yeah, and so it's interesting to see people actually being, like, worshipping him, which makes sense, in my opinion, especially if he's been under control for thousands and thousands of years.
There was one slightly violent thing, now that I remember.
She stabbed a guy in the face.
The girl stabbed one of the masked ladies in the eye with the arrow.
Legit blood.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that.
So I was the whole time thinking that chick looked like the girl from Symbionic Titan, because the hair is the same.
Fucking hair.
Yeah.
But even Gendy had to say, like, that wasn't intentional. It just happened.
I was like, come on, dude, you run 2 shows. And even if it wasn't intentional, you could have, like, checked that shit beforehand.
I mean, Gendy, in that Q&A, he even said that he's not aware of a lot of the Easter eggs that go into his show. Like, all the Powerpuff stuff went right over his head for Samurai Jack.
Talking dog.
Like the talking dog, and there was a shot of, like, Townsville in the background. So he said he didn't know anything about those at the start.
I'm wondering if it's intentional or not, either, but one of the daughters totally had Mandy's hair.
Oh, yeah, I noticed
Maybe.
that. I don't know, who knows.
I mean, Getty didn't work on that show, but...
Still Cartoon Network.
True. I'm kind of interested to see where that goes, because I want to know if they're going to be, like, the constant new bad guy, or if they're just going to be...
Like, one each episode.
Because they've already shown a little preview for next week's episode, and I think it's where Jack fights all of them.
So, yeah, because in the preview, he was like, oh, Aku just keeps sending me his bolts and nuts minions, and that's all it is. He thinks they can defeat me, but So I'm wondering if next episode is when he kills
I think he's gonna kill one of
a
the
human.
daughters.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
think
thinking.
one of the daughters is gonna
Yeah.
get it because they showed a clip of him fighting all of them.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's what's gonna happen, and so I'm interested to see where it goes. And I wouldn't be surprised if it ended like really dark, like he just didn't go back to the past. He just died or something.
I think he will go back. I think they'll go with the happy ending where he will go back, fight Aku in the past, and
It would be
undo everything.
very satisfying if that happened. It would be satisfying for a confident ending.
Yeah.
I hope that he goes to the present, whenever that is, and becomes Professor Utonium. I would be happy with that ending.
God.
But the professor's not Asian.
You don't know that.
Yeah, you don't know that.
I do. He's very white. He's like the whitest man on television. He's like the 50s sitcom dad, like that, like straight up.
But yeah.
Eat your
I'm really
pea,
excited.
Professor.
Well,
I love that episode.
but now that Samurai Jack episodes are coming out, I have an excuse to not kill myself. Because I have
Whoa.
to wait for Samurai Jack. And then when Samurai Jack is over, there's going to be new episodes of Game of Thrones.
Whoa.
So I gotta survive.
That got really dark.
Just kidding.
Are there things
No,
you want to
like-
tell me?
No.
I literally read that in one of the
I
threads.
joke about that. Oh, really? Because I always joke
Someone
about that with
actually said
Josh.
that.
Josh is like, he was like, yay, new episodes of Game of Thrones. Now I have a reason to live.
Yeah. Well, so I think there's only gonna be 10 episodes of Samurai Jack before it ends.
Yeah,
so
it's over.
maybe once the whole series is over, we'll go back and look at it as a whole.
I think it's kind of weird to bring a show back just for 10 episodes. Like, Futurama brought a shit ton back.
Well, Futurama wasn't coming back to finish a story. It was
I
just coming
guess.
back to make more episodes.
It's just interesting that the network approved and let him have all the money and stuff just to do just 10 episodes.
Well, I think Adult Swim at least it seems to be kind of more of an environment where they're more willing to let artists do what they want. I mean, look at Rick and Morty. They kind of just do whatever they feel like.
But again, Rick and Morty is a bunch of episodes. I don't know. I guess I don't understand how this
I just think
industry
that
works.
I think that Gendy had a good relationship with
Yeah,
the
he
people who
probably did.
run it, and like they were fans of it back in the
although
day.
not quite. I heard, and this may not be true. Obviously, I don't know these people on offhand, but like I heard that he got hired to do Hotel Transylvania, and he left Cartoon Network to do that, and they were really salty about it, which was why they ended Symbionic Titan,
Maybe.
because they were pretty salty that he left.
I have no idea.
That's just what I heard. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. But no, Jack came back.
Jack's back.
Yeah, Jack's back.
Back to the
and
past.
I can say, at least I feel that it made a pretty impactful comeback this week. So I'm interested to see how they finish it in the next couple weeks. So
I was
Yeah.
trying so hard to ask him about Popeye, but I couldn't get logged in.
Oh, you couldn't get in.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, is that
I hear he was super bummed about
is
that.
that completely canceled, like altogether?
I think so.
Oh, it sucks. That that teaser was really fun.
Yeah.
And
So
see, and
is,
that's what I was saying.
Medusa.
Like
Medusa's done.
Oh
too.
yeah, Lauren Faust movie got canceled too.
oh, I didn't know she was doing that.
Yeah.
I love Gendy because even when we were like watching Hotel Transylvania, you can see his style in the CG art,
Yeah.
and it's so fluid and fun and
Like,
loosey goosey.
I had no interest in watching that movie until they announced that Gendy was coming
Yeah,
on to
same.
be the director. I was like, oh, okay, well now I'll check it out. And it was like, well, actually that was kind of fun.
yeah,
But yeah, Gendy, it's always a good time.
I know.
That's
I love that
another
guy.
That's another
could
movie
literally
where
just-
it's like you gotta mute it to watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't think it's as stupid as it could
I think
have
they
been.
tamed Adam Sandler.
I
for
think the
most part.
commercials make it look way stupider than it is, but that's how a lot of things are.
How
And then
the
they got
crew
rid of CeeLo Green because he rapes people.
did, but they replaced him with one of the guys from Key and Peele, so it was
Yeah,
okay.
awesome.
I'm okay with that.
And
So
then
yeah.
he's gonna be in Captain Underpants too.
CeeLo Green.
Oh yeah, no, the Key and Peele guy.
Oh,
Um,
they're getting really popular.
yeah, I mean the one of them just made a horror movie.
Yeah, and it
was
did
like- yeah,
really,
like a
really
funny
well.
movie.
The Get Out, and apparently it's really
Oh,
good.
I thought that was. Oh, I didn't know he did that.
Yeah. So
Yeah, people are saying that's really good. I'm surprised. They usually do really comedic stuff.
yeah, no idea. But yeah. So if you want to watch the new Samurai Jack, it's on Adult Swim's Toonami block on Saturdays at 11. So tune in for that, because I'm sure if the numbers are good for Jack, then that'll be
Symbionic Titan.
Don't get away from the mic. You're gonna. But tune in if you are able to watch this, because I'm sure good numbers for Jack means good things for Gendy in the future. So
anything that man could literally shit on a plate, and I would think it's art.
Whoa.
Gross. But unless you two have anything else you want to say, I think that.
Nah, I'm
Just
left.
that I love that
I'm
man.
left speechless after that.
It's good to support the industry. Watch the show. Give it your feedback. Keep traditional 2D animation going.
Yeah.
And that's what Samurai Jack is all about. Is the art form that's slowly dying. And even Gendy said that working on the CG movies is nothing compared to what he enjoys with the 2-dimensional stuff.
Yeah. So hopefully Jack does well, and Gendy gets into the show with cartoon or with Adult Swim, because that would be
Well,
rad.
what if he does the because weren't they saying that his dream project got canceled as well over
I don't know
there?
what that was.
I have no idea.
I don't remember, but is that what was it?
Well, no, because they were saying that he was going to do something else after Popeye. They were like, "Yo, direct this, then you could do Popeye and something else that you want to do."
Yeah. He. I don't know if that got canceled or not. Yeah, he was basically saying if he came back into Total. I think they said if he came back into Transylvania 2, they'd give him free reign to do another movie.
He really wanted to do Popeye, like really bad. Was that his dream?
Yeah,
Because
was
that's what he
that
wanted.
was one of them. But I'm thinking
he had
like
another
if
movie.
they
Oh, I didn't.
if they
know
canceled that movie, he could probably use that as a show idea.
Maybe.
I wouldn't.
It's
I don't know if
entirely
I'd watch
possible.
that as a show, but
Who knows? But yeah. So.
yeah.
Well,
Alright.
I think that does it for our discussion this week. I think that was a good.
No, I want to talk some more.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, we can do whatever
for
you
it.
want, man.
Now let's end this.
Okay. But I bet I'll have students watching it and talking to me about it,
Maybe.
and it's gonna be really weird because I was their age when it was first on. I'm gonna be like, they're gonna be like, "Hey, do you know Samurai Jack?" I'm gonna be like, do you know Samurai Jack?
First off.
Um.
Secondly.
They do that with like Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon. They're like, "Hey, do you know blah?" And I'm like, "Get out of my fucking
Yeah,
face."
you were surprised Dragon Ball was still on.
Oh my god.
We watched an episode of Dragon Ball Super last night. Nothing happened.
Nothing makes sense. I don't
Oh
understand.
god. All right. Well, I guess thanks everyone for listening this week.
Yay.
I hope if you'll check out Samurai Jack if you haven't
Please
already,
do.
and if you have checked it out, I hope you enjoy it and keep
Support
watching.
Gendy.
And let us know what you think about the new season.
Yes.
Because we'd like to know about that.
Yes.
Maybe
we'll do another one after we all 10 episodes come out.
maybe once we'll
And we
do
can
a
see
look
just
back.
how wrong we were with all of our
predictions.
predictions.
All right. Well, I guess until next week, we'll catch y'all later.
Bye!
Whatever.
Thank you for listening to the Ink and Paint Club podcast. If you like this episode, remember to share it, leave a comment, write a review, tell your mom, all of that good stuff. Also, be sure to follow the show on Facebook where we post animation news and discussion topics daily. Thanks again, and we will see you in the next episode.